What's up guys, it's Played Unfairly. This video is going to be completely uncut, as in I'm not going to edit much on this video because I'm really just too lazy. But this whole video is basically going over everything you can do, or most of everything you can do in Bloodborne in advanced mode. I may make a video for quick mode stuff because there are codes for like setting stats, setting level, setting health, stamina, as well as like setting infinite bullets and vials to infinite. But I'm not going to go over that in this video because this is for advanced mode use, so maybe another time. But yeah, so I'm going to just chill with whatever character I got selected now for the moment. And what we're going to start off with, the basics of stats and level. So yeah. Also, throughout this video, we'll be discussing how to modify gems, how to find the gem IDs, and as well, how to find specific gems that you're looking for if you're wanting to look for a specific gem to edit. So I'll better keep that in mind. So yeah. So I'll probably put timestamps here to let you guys know, or at least somewhere in the video where I'm talking about certain things. So keep an eye out on that if I figure out how. But let's look for a character. So I'm going to go here because normally I know the character data is like here I'm looking for. So just got to keep clicking up until I eventually see it. Where are ya? Okay, here it is. Oh, it was there. But you should see this is my character. It's playing unfairly. Right here, I'm going to take a guess. This here is the level. Actually, I don't know if it's a level. But what we have here is 6307. So if we open up the calculator app, and I recommend you guys using the calculator app actually, select these little three lines and select programmer mode. And I'm just going to search this ID, which is 76C. Oh, it didn't do it. It is 6C7. And now, actually, it's done it completely wrong. 76C. Yeah, so this here is health. So 6007 is Little Indian, while in calculator it's 76C, which is Big Indian. So I'll go over how to convert that. So if I want to modify my health, we see here we got this ID. So here we got this ID. We got this ID, and then we got this ID. So there's three health IDs. One of each means something. One means the actual health. One means the actual stamina bar. It's the icon. I can't remember all three in total, but they all have different uses. So it's just best to just change them all. And so we want, for example, 1 million. This is how it's written. So we can see here it says F4240. How this is meant to be written is meant to be like this. So if I minimize it, and just so I can get a good example. Alright, so 40 F2, sorry, 40, 42. So it'd be like this. So from backwards it'd be 40. Then the next one is 42. And if we see one by itself, like here for example, it would be OF, so 0F, like that. And then you'll do the same thing for this one and this one. Now C201, I can't exactly remember what it is, but we don't really need to change it. But what we have here is AA, which is stamina. So if I were to quickly check in hex what AA is, it is 170. And it'd be the same thing. If I wanted a million health, I'll put the same ID I just put there into AA, AA, and AA. So yeah. Oop, wrong one. Alright. And now we're going to do stats. So as you see here, we got 63 here, and we got these little 363s here. So that's three stats. We got one here, and one here. That there already just tells us that these are the stats. And basically, if you want to change the stats, you'll just type in the number here. It'll tell you the hex number, and you pretty much do the same thing what I just did with health. But bear in mind, I don't exactly know which one is strength. but if you set strength up to a certain point, it will cause a breaking animation, where if you do hit an enemy with a weapon, as if like your character's too weak to hold that weapon, it just does a smack and your character just bounces back. So keep that in mind if you're doing strength. I don't know which one's what, but trial and error and figure it out. And now we do health, level. So I know my character's level was 544, 220. And what we have here is the ID to 2002, which is the level. Because remember, backwards, it'd be 2002. 20, then 02, because the number's by itself. And yeah, that there is the level. Insight and souls are here somewhere, but I'm not going to edit those because I don't see a point. Now we're going to do the character name. To change your character's name, it's pretty simple. You select over this part of here, so you don't want to select anything here. You just want to select over here. And if I wanted to, I'm going to change it to Jamie. So we put capitals on J, then we press the right arrow key to skip over the dot, then A, then skip over the dot, M, then skip over the dot, E, then skip over the dot, and E. That's pretty much how. And I think there's like a limit of 15 to 16 characters, so bear that in mind. Otherwise, you might end up doing something to your character you don't want to do, like change its gender by accident. That's how I found it. But that's pretty much the basics of the stats here and the level here. There is a quick code you can use to do this, but it's kind of like iffy, as we base this on the C201 code here, and some saves have it different, and then the code don't work. So yeah, I think there's like 2 or 3 variations of it. So keep that in mind when a quick code video comes out, or if you ever guys do come across the quick code. Yeah. So now we're going to do gems. Gems is pretty easy. Now, you just scroll to the very top, like, up here. And then what we have here is all this information, like all of it. So I'm going to go with the very top one since I can see it's a gem. So typically what you want to look out for is like all these FFs. This is like a good indication that this is how you know it's a gem or rune. So we'll start with the gem. So this is how you find gem IDs quickly as well, just in case you ever want to come, put these gems on armor or anything like that. So yeah, so normally how I find gem IDs when I first start doing this, it is one of 2 ways. You typically go to the very end of the FFs or whatever gem you may have edited, because all these FFs are blank spots for effects. So if I go to the very end of this one and say I was doing this, so I put this gem effect here because, I'm editing a gem, for example. Don't do this, but this is just an example. So now I'm on the very end of that gem, and the moment the FFs stop, that's where the new gem ID starts, or new gem. So right here, we got 4209ATC0. This will be different for your save, so don't copy this down or anything like that. But this is how we know this is a gem ID or rune ID, because it's the very start of things. A second way is kind of like, if you're not used to finding gem IDs, then you might be used to finding out how to find gems in general, because gems will always start with 0-1s, typically after. So of course, like we've got these effects. These are blank effects. Then the ID before that is an ID of gem effect. This one's a gem effect, and then this one's a gem effect. And then we've got a shape, and then we got the actual gem, which basically tells the game that this is a gem, and then this is its shape. And typically, if you do know how to find the gem and then its shape, then most people don't know how to find the gem ID. Now that's one way I told you before, at the end of a gem or rune edit, like these FFs here, that's when a new gem ID starts, or new gem. Like 4209AEC0 is an example, because this is a gem ID or rune ID. And when we go past it, it's 95, 05, 10, 80. This ID is not really important because I never really fiddle around with it, but I think that's like the kind of location of this gem. I'm not quite sure, but I never edit it and it's not really important. But then we got the 0-1. So if it's a 0-2, this would be a rune, but in this case it's a 0-1, so this is a gem. Also, bear in mind, if you guys don't want to edit your runes because you want to keep your runes, you can convert gems into runes just by changing this first 01 into a 2. Like now, this is a rune, and yeah. Also, if you want to make an oath rune with effects on it, just change the second 01 into a 2, and now you've got an oath. But yeah, that's just pretty much the basics of that. But back to the gem talk. So I got the gem and I want to change its shape. So I know this shape 3F, this here means droplet. In the description below, there will be a list to my form where I give out, the gem shape as well as the gem IDs you need to make whatever you want, as well as like runes. And I've also put armor in here as well. So I'll leave that in the description below. So back to this. So now I've done this 3F 000000. I'm happy with that. That's my gem shape, and I know it's a gem. So what we have here is 9E300200. This here is a gem ID. Sorry, gem effect. Sorry, gem effect ID. Typically, this is not really important because I don't really care about this effect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into this my form here, and I'm going to look for a gem effect that I want. So I'm going to search 28.1. Oh, I'll put 18. 28.1. This is the gem effect I want, because this here is like pretty much like one-shot damage if you keep stacking it. So I'm just going to open a notepad. Alright. Here. So I'm going to start typing out F4 860200, and then I'm just going to keep typing that out. So F4 860200, 4860200. Now, typically when it comes to like online, if you're playing online with this, I don't recommend it, but if you are, and players can view these, view your gems through, I think it's like some sort of leaderboard check or whatever. So bear in mind, about that. But when it comes to here, where you've got FFs and blah blah blah, this here basically means the gem has blank spots. Now gems all have 6 effects, but typically you only get 3 because the other 3 have locked off. So if we were to keep on editing here, so F4 860200, F4 860200, F4 860200. And there you go. Now we've got 6 effects on one gem. And remember what I said before, when you've done editing a gem or gone to the very end of FFs, a new gem ID starts. And as you see here, we've got 430980C0. That's how to edit effects, and that's how to find gem IDs. So if you ever want to put gems on armor, then you might as well write down those gem IDs that you just edited, which in this case I edited 420980C0. So yeah. Now how to find specific gems if you're looking for specific gems. The only way to find specific gems is pretty much by putting one gem on a weapon that's not duped. So by that I mean, say for instance you have a sword cleaver +3, and if you don't have another sword cleaver that's +3, so you only have one, you put that gem on that weapon, and so in this case, let me just put an example. I'm going to quickly write down the gem ID for this convenience sake. Don't copy this, I'm just showing you guys how to find it. I'm just making a memo for myself so it makes it easier. So I'm going to quickly go find the sword cleaver. This will also be in the description below. So we've got the sword cleaver +3. Alright. But in my case, I'm going to do sword cleaver +10 because I don't have a +3 at the moment. Alright, so All right, and bear in mind we've got like a few IDs. We've got 1, 2, 3, 3 IDs, which probably means I made a mistake at some point, but who cares? Yeah. So what we have here, for example, oh wait, this is the wrong one. Wait, my mistake. Go back one. Yeah, I'm not wrong. So say for example, we know this weapon is unlocked. Or am I looking at it wrong? I think they're locked, but you know what? It don't matter. So let's just do the example. So I'm just gonna type out the gem IDs of Rune. So 420980. Right. So right here, say for instance, now I search my sword cleaver. So I do my search. I found the sword cleaver. I go to here, 01. Now for some reason I don't know why mine's locked, but basically it's meant to be 01 or whatever the shape is on the sword cleaver. But in this case, mine's locked, don't know why, but yeah. Typically it'd be like 01 or 02, 04, 08, 3F. I don't know. Depends on the weapon you're basically selecting this on. Like if you have a sword cleaver that has the radial shape, the triangle shape, the warning shape, whining, whatever you want to call it, it'd basically be like 01, 02, or 04. So bear that in mind. But then you got like the ID here, which is like 420980C0. This basically means that, okay, this sword cleaver has this gem ID on it, which is basically saying that, okay, this here is the gem ID that you're specifically looking for. So yeah, I can't exactly help that much more out. That's as best as I can do. But yeah, I'm also going to quickly go over how to put gem IDs on armor. Now, gem IDs on armor is pretty much the same as weapons. So what I just did here is I changed this first 00 into 01 and then the 80 to 00. So I'll just do another example. So say for instance we selected, actually I'll do a better idea. Alright, so if I quickly just go into an armor list, I'll just use my one just for convenience sake. So say for instance I use Madman's Head. Oop. Control C. Use Madman's Head. Is there any more? Just two. So we got Madman's Head here. As you can see here, we got the first 01, which is straight after the ID, and then it'll be a bunch of blank zeros, and then we come across our first. Actually, oh no, I think I did that wrong. So ignore that. So basically, after we find the ID, so I'll just do it again. After I find the first ID, you can see right here under the ID there is an 80, another 80, and another 80. So basically under 50, for example, we're just going to change that to 01, that to 01, that to 01, then change the 80s to zeros. Yeah, and if I go to the first 01, 80, or sorry, first 01 or 80, whatever you want to go about from doing this, we're just going to go to the next line, and then we can see right here there is another 80. Again, we're going to change that, and then change that to 01, and then change that to 01. So now we got a ARM ID that has all these open slots. And now bear in mind these IDs 01s mean radial or rational. I don't know it means I don't know what it's called. Radial. Sorry, radial. It means radial. Now you can change these like 3F if you really want like droplets. It don't really matter. I recommend using droplet gems on this just for convenience sake, so it's easier. And now you're probably thinking, okay, what do we do? So from here, of course, we go to our 3F or 01, 02, whatever you put it as, and then we just basically from our first unlock slot, we press right arrow key to go to the next line or whatever it is for you. And then basically what we do is we just type in the gem IDs that we copied. So basically we put the gem IDs that we edited already before. So for this instance, I know, for example, we just did this one. So I'll just go to this line, and I'll just type in 42, 09, 80, C0. And then the next ID right next to that, it would normally be 00, but in this case I changed it to 3F already, and I already changed the 80 to zeros. So, yep. And what we do here is basically we just do, we do whatever you do. If you do 01, you do 01, and then you just go over here. Normally this would be 80, but you just type that to 00, and then you'd put in the next ID. Now, sometimes you might have a gem directly under the one you edited. So in my case, for example, maybe the next gem I edited would be 43, 09, 80, C0. But make sure you only put gem IDs in that you've already done. And then, yeah, that's pretty much how to put gems on armor. That's pretty much how that works. Now, I'm also going to go over something that's quite important because some people don't really know how to do this properly. Now, this would be how to replace armor, or how to put cut content armor without it breaking or something like that. So bear in mind, whenever you're doing like armor replacing or weapon replacements, don't have your weapons in storage, don't have your armor in storage, because you do, they will disappear. So bear that in mind, and that's not really a good thing. So say for instance, I want to change the Crown of Illusion. So I'll open up Save Wizard again. Alright. 1, 2. We've got 2 IDs this time. Sometimes you get 2 IDs, 4, 8, or so, it just depends on how many of those web items you own. In any case, you might have to just replace all of them, like dead ass all of them. But in this case, I've got 2, so yep. So what we do here is now we've got our ID. I'm going to let's write that down. So that's the ID there. And say for instance, I want to change that hat piece into, let's go to the cut content part. Let's change that to Annalise's head, for example. Alright. So basically we would just type, 95F 0110. Then we do a search for the next ID, 95F 0110. And that's it. That's pretty much how to change armor. Same thing goes for weapons. And if you do have more than one ID, just replace all of them. And that's it for convenience sake. What I'm going to do is now I'm going to cut the video and then think of what else I need to edit. If there is anything else to edit, then that's the end of this video. If not, I'll just add something else towards the end of this video, just so I can think. Alright, so I did forget some things. So I'm going to go over how to get infinite bullets, infinite vials, and as well how to get 5 gems on one weapon. So let's go over that. So I'm going to search for 8403 40. Right, so I'll search for this ID. Typically, the first search is the one you want. Bear in mind, you don't want to do anything with the second one, so just leave that as it is. But if we go here, typically it would be like this. So this is how it would look. You'd have the ID you searched for, and behind it you'd have 840300B0. Now you saw before it was set to 00. We just change that back, and now we have infinite bullets on this, which is cool. 000000B0 is pretty much the answer to say this is infinite. Same thing goes for vials, so bear that in mind. Now I'm going to quickly go over how to get 5 slots on a single weapon. So if I were to quickly just find a weapon ID, so let's go there and then search for Blade of Mercy, for example. So like we said before, as I explained earlier, we got 0, 1, 0, 1. We got ID. We got like before it was like 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0 underneath it, and then underneath that would be 80, 80, and 80. But in this case, the weapon is maxed out, so it will be unlocked. So we have 0, 1. There's no 0, 80 because it's not locked. And then we got another 0, 1 underneath that, and we got a 0, 0. Basically, we changed that 0, 0 there into a 0, 1. And then, because this is a Blade of Mercy, I think it has the shapes of like radial, triangle, and radial. So that's why it's 0, 2 here. But we can change this to 0, 1, so that's radial, radial, radial. But so if we change that to 0, 1, now it's radial, radial, radial. And then underneath that, we got another 0, 0. We just change that to 0, 1. And you can see here there's an 80. Same thing like the armor. We change that 80 to 0, 0. And now we got 5 slots on a weapon, which is cool. And there's also a little cool tip I'm going to give you guys. That tip is there are weapons that only have 1. Now, the Evelyn pistol, for example, is one that only has 1. You can only max it out to 3, so bear that in mind. You can only get 3. And you can also do this with weapons that you can't put gems on normally. So yeah, only way you can do that is through hex editing, but yeah, that's a cool way. Like the cannon, for example, can be one of those weapons. So yeah, that is currently all that I can think of right now. I will leave the quick code in the pinned comment for infinite bullets, infinite vials. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoy. If I've missed anything out, let me know. I know there is the ability to go invisible and having an effect on weapons. The effect on weapons I really can't be asked going through, so I might go through that another time. But for invisible torso or invisible body, I'm pretty sure I've mentioned it on the forums here somewhere. I'm pretty sure I have. Maybe I haven't. So I'll quickly go over that. So if your character is a female and if you put on the bloody set of Alfred, you put those set on, you'll go invisible. I think the same thing applies for the bloody Eileen set. If your character is male and you put on that bloody Eileen set, you'll go invisible. So yeah, I hope that explains it. I don't honestly know if I actually have mentioned it on my forum. I might have or will. Yeah, who knows? But yeah, other than that, that is all. I hope you enjoyed, and latest.